I'm Austin, and this is Pickleball Playbook. I'm going to be taking you guys through my recent drilling session with pro Collin Shick. You guys are going to get a ton of insights. So without further ado, let's open the playbook. All right, so let's hop into this. Going to be helping you guys kind of see into Collin's mind. He taught me a ton while we drilled together, and then hopefully be able to give you guys some tips from my own mind of things that I learned. We started out just playing the dink game straight across from each other, and then we ended up playing it in all four positions. He says that he starts all of his drilling sessions as kind of a warm-up, playing the dink game. For those of you that don't know what it is, you're essentially just hitting dinks back and forth, and any shot goes after you hit your initial dink. So you can speed up, you can lob, you can hit an overhead, counter, whatever it is that you want to do, but you're just playing on that half of the court. So it's simulating a real doubles game, but obviously you don't have the other two people on the other side of the court, so you can only hit to that side of the court. And then something interesting is he says he plays to 7 every time that they do this. He'll typically drill with his doubles partner, who's Jack Sock. And he says that they'll go to 7, and it just helps so that it doesn't get boring, and also people don't get lackadaisical and like start messing around. So that way you play a quick game to 7, and then you switch. Now you're playing odd side to odd side maybe, or down the other line or something like that. So we ended up playing 4 games, and for the most part, I'm just going to let you guys kind of watch and see our drilling session, and then just chime in with any insights that I learned from Collin and any insights that I might have. So I hope that you guys enjoy it. Something interesting about pickleball, especially for beginners, they won't know this, is you hit topspin on majority of your volleys. If you come from like tennis or padel, any of these other racket background sports, a lot of the time you'll be hitting underspin, slice as they call it, or just hitting flat through the ball. But in pickleball, you're going to be hitting over the ball. Particularly when you're countering the ball, you want to kind of come over the ball and through the ball. And the reason for that in pickleball is because you're going to be able to create topspin and bring the ball down at the feet of your opponent. Whereas in tennis, you can cut through the ball and get the ball super deep, because chances are you're the only player that's going to be at the net when you're playing tennis. In pickleball, everybody's always up at the kitchen together. And so it's not going to be very effective to do a low penetrating slice, because the ball, when you hit slice, is going this way around. And so it's actually floating upwards, although it doesn't sometimes. But with topspin, it's actually going to curve downwards because it's moving forward. So that can be something that's hard to get used to, is hitting topspin volleys. But essentially what you'll notice is just how calm, cool, collected, and comfortable Collin is. And he has the best backhand dink in all of pickleball. If you see when he does his 2 hands, it has so much spin. It's so tough. And that's one of the, right there, what you just saw where I hit that winner on him. That's one of the balls. It's like when I'm playing against my friends, they know that it's coming and they'll always cover it. But then you play, like this was the first time me and Collin had ever drilled, and then we ended up playing afterwards. He had no idea that was coming. So it's kind of interesting. The more people that you play with, people that you play with the most often will kind of know your strategy going in, whereas new people won't know the strategy. So that game was to 7. Collin won the first one, and now we're going to go cross court. I think I switched this camera angle at some point, but I don't know. So now we're doing the same thing. By the way, prior to this, we warmed up our volleys. And we were talking about like shoulder problems, and a lot of that results from people not warming up their volleys. So you just start really slow, and you're just hitting it back and forth, standing on either kitchen line. And you're just trying to make contact with your sweet spot of your paddle. Get right at the center of your paddle near the top, and really warm up your shoulders. Because if you fail to do that and you get a sore shoulder, it's going to be sore for a couple of weeks, and you could end up injuring yourself. But if you can get those volleys just nice and your arms nice and warmed up, then the rest of the drilling session is going to go really smoothly. Because after that, it just comes down to your legs and your footwork, which is why this is a great warm-up drill to do, because you're going to be moving around a ton inside your box. And also it's helping to depict what it's like when all 4 players are up at the kitchen line. So there's his two-handed backhand. He taught me this. And he actually said it's mostly his left hand that he does it with, and he's pointing his left hand down and then curving up the ball. I'll link a video. I went into some in-depth instruction on how to do it and how he coached me to do it. I'll link it at the top right of the video if you want to go watch that. I'll also link it in the description if you want to stick around and you can watch it after. But, wow. It's like, I can probably hit in 50% right now. I've been practicing it for the last 2 months. And he's really consistent with it, really good with it. And he can trick his opponents into thinking he's going to speed it up down the line, and then he ends up hitting it cross court and it's a winner. But it can be a valuable tool. I don't really recommend it to a beginner player, even an intermediate player, like anything below, honestly, probably 4 or 5. I wouldn't recommend learning it. I'd refine your one-handed backhand, get it really consistent before you move on to something like that. So what this drill is great for also is finding openings. You're creating openings by pulling your opponent off the court and then going up the middle like how you just saw right there. Pull our opponent off the court and then we go up the middle. So right there he pulled me off the court. I tried to go back cross court and then I ended up missing the ball. Because I know if I end up going and the ball's slightly high, he's going to have an easy put away up the middle. So right there, same thing, pulled him off the court, hit it up the middle, he backed up, resetted, now I'm off the court. Something about this drill, so you just saw an ATP, you can do that as well. And it's totally legal because that means that Collin hit it too far out wide. And so I shouldn't be punished by not having that available to me. But sometimes people actually get to that ATP when you're drilling. I'll run over there and get to it. So it's good practice for a real game. Something to notice here, what Collin's doing as he's resetting all these balls, is his paddle is low. It's low every single time that he's resetting. The further back that you go, the further down your paddle should go. That'll help you to be able to reset the ball into the kitchen consistently, which is exactly what you want to do. So again, pulled him out wide, went up the middle. And he's doing the same exact thing to me. Had I pulled him out wide and he got that dink back to the middle, but it landed in the kitchen, it would have been a lot more difficult. Obviously, I wouldn't be able to speed up the ball, but I could still hit to the middle. I don't know what happened there, but I think I hit him. So now we're going right side to right side or even side to even side. Same exact game. It's important to get every single side because a really, really good example is if you're playing on the left side and you're so used to the left side because that's all you practice, that's all that you warmed up, that's all that you've drilled, you'll end up hitting balls wide on the right side. Because when you're on the left side, you can hit to the opponent's left side and you can hit a huge angle across. Whereas when you're on the right side and you hit to the opponent's right side, you can hit a lot of balls wide. And I've seen it happen time and time again with me when I'm just focused on improving my left side game and then I end up having to play right side with a partner. I start hitting balls wide a ton, and vice versa when I play right side. So it's important to get practice on both sides unless you're like someone like Ben Johns, where no matter what, he's playing on the left side. And someone like Collin Johns, who no matter what is playing on the right side. But that being said, Collin does play mixed on the left side, so even he has to practice both sides. But you really want to be an all-around player. A lot of people have the opinion that you want to be a specialist, which I agree with. But if you can play both sides, then you can literally play with anyone. And then, I mean, once you get to the pro level, it's like, okay, now I think it's time to become a specialist and just focus on one side. But who's going to the pro level, right? Probably not very many people. 0.01% of the pickleball population. The actual pro level. Obviously, you can play pro. Anybody can play pro, but getting wins in the pro level, I think, is a different story. So he saved me there, my backhand. So just a way over hit there. Shortening your motion, but not taking away your acceleration is important. So I'm still going low to high. I'm still going out and up as I hit through my speed up, but it doesn't need to be that big of a motion. And a lot of people struggle with acceleration. They'll decelerate as they hit, so they'll slow down because they're nervous about hitting the ball in. But what's funny is you want to do the opposite. So when you start feeling nerves, you need to make sure that you're accelerating, you're swinging through, and then you're going to be a whole lot more consistent. So really focused on moving each other around. Oh yeah, he got that. Yeah, I remember that. That's disgusting. So he got an ATP on that. And what he's doing is he's hooking his wrist. So he hooks it inwards and cuts around the ball. And then he's able to wrap it around the post. Whenever you're pulled out wide, if you hook your wrist, it's something that you can practice. You're hooking that wrist in instead of keeping it neutral. You'll be able to pull the ball back into the court a lot of the time. So that's something that Ben Johns actually teaches when he teaches beginner clinics and intermediate clinics, is to hook your wrists because it can help you to stay in the point. So notice again how all these volleys are topspin. Had that volley been sliced, the court is just too short. So it'll go long every single time. You can't slice and keep the ball in unless you get it like that far over the net every single time. So in order to be consistent, you got to practice hitting topspin volleys. The rule of thumb to use is anything that's below the net tape. So if he hits me a ball below the net tape and I hit it out of the air, Ernie. So all that he's doing there really quick, and then I'll go back to slice versus topspin. All that he's doing there is watching my paddle angle. He sees that my paddle is pointing up the line, he jumps. And that's something that separates amateurs from pros, is that they watch the paddle. They don't watch the player. They'll watch the paddle angle. And that's something that I learned right off the get-go of playing from a really good player. He was like, watch the paddle, watch the paddle. So if you focus on the paddle, it's going to help you to be able to see the ball better as well, but also just recognize Ernie opportunities. It's a really good point. He recovered and everything. Came forward. So topspin compared to underspin. We're hitting topspin with anything that's above net tape, that's out of the air, a volley. Anything below the net tape, you want to hit underspin and reset the ball if possible. So right there, I'm resetting, and now I'm back in. And now I'm resetting again. I'm hitting that underspin, and now it's topspin because it's above the net tape. So if you want to stay in the point, if you need to stay in the point and you're in defense, you're hitting underspin. If you're in charge of the point and you're on offense, you're hitting topspin. Whole goal with your topspin is to get it at their feet. The whole goal with your underspin in defense is to get it to land in the kitchen. Because once it lands in the kitchen, you can come back forward, regain that real estate, and either be neutral or offensive. Offense is where we want to be. We don't want to be in defense, obviously. Something else with this game, a lot of players will be sticklers about like the ball hitting the line or the ball being outside of the line in the middle. But if you can get to it, play it, because it's going to be more realistic. That's what's going to happen in a point. So if the ball is 2 inches out in the center of the court, just play it. And it'll pay off. He was keeping the score in his mind the whole time. I don't even know how he did it, but on to the next drill. Okay, so right here we're hitting drops. And for this drill, it's just everything is half court. And then we switch on to playing he being full court back at the baseline, and then me being on just half the court. Super challenging drill, but super helpful in the fact that if you can cover the whole court and hit drops to just one location, then go play doubles or even singles, obviously, but go play doubles. Doubles is going to be extremely easy because you only have to cover your half of the court. Whereas in singles, you have to cover the full court anyway. So it's helping you with that as well as an added bonus. but not a lot of people play singles. A lot of people play doubles because it's a lot less movement. A lot more people can do it than singles. And we actually ended up playing singles, but it's not even usable. Like, I couldn't even give you guys a tip because there was just no points. The dude just hit straight winners the whole time. I should post it though, just to show you guys the difference between a 5.5 and a 6. It's like a 6.7 in singles. Just insanely good. So focusing on keeping everything deep. A lot of you guys will ask, I'm using the Lux during this. This is because it's during the Red Rock tournament, and I'm just getting around to analyzing our drilling session. But I use the Amp Pro Air now. I like it a little bit more just because, I mean, I love both paddles, but I like it a little bit more because I get a little bit more power with it. Other than that, it feels relatively the same to me. The control isn't as much as the Lux. If you want a control paddle, like, nothing better. But I have a little bit more put away power with the Amped Pro, and that's why I like it a bit more, and that's why I use it. So now we're doing the same thing. We actually did this down the line on the other side as well. We're trying to get every position, get those drops nice and warmed up. And I say warmed up, it's because we were playing a match right after this. We're going to be playing for a couple hours after this. So you're getting everything warmed up, you're getting your reps in, because that match is going to be good, but nothing's better than drilling, because with drilling you could hit 1,000 balls in a matter of 30 minutes. But during your rec game, you'll probably hit like 100 balls in 30 minutes. And it's not going to be the same ball over and over and over again, whereas with this, you can continue hitting the same ball over and over again. So I wish that we were mic'd up, but I can teach you guys exactly what he's talking about. So with his backhand, as he's hitting the backhand drop, he's coming around the ball, just like how he demonstrated there. So a lot of people he's saying will cut just straight up. He's cutting around. So he's actually curving the paddle around the ball, and it helps him to be able to create top spin as well as side spin so that it drops down and kind of curves off to the side. You're essentially just getting a double dose of spin. And it's all coming down to tip of the paddle going down and then tip of the paddle going upwards as he goes around the ball. So tip of the paddle down, tip of the paddle up will really help you. You can do that on both the forehand and the backhand side. So we're still talking about it. And then everything is out in front of him. So he keeps it all out in front of his left knee. He hits almost all open stance. Open stance meaning his feet and his body are facing towards the net. A lot of players will cross their feet so that they're not facing towards the net. And the problem with that is obviously getting it back into the point after you're facing away from the ball is very difficult. And in pickleball, you want to face towards your opponents the entire time. So definitely something to practice is that open stance as you're hitting backhands. The way that he does that is he keeps it all out in front of that left knee, his non-dominant knee. When he makes contact with the ball, he's not hitting anything behind him unless he absolutely has to. If anything goes behind him, he is going to cross that leg. So hopefully that makes sense. I know I'm not demonstrating it to you guys, but that was that drill. Let me quickly fast forward and then we'll move on to the next one. Okay, so this is the one that I talked about. He plays full court. He's explaining it to me right now. He plays full court. I only play half court. And I actually started out like going pretty hard, right, on those first two shots. And I was like, yeah, that was too difficult probably. So I'll hit the first one back to him, make it a little bit more easy. And then dude just like straight up doesn't miss. He's so good. So it's like, so then I had to start really trying to hit a winner. It's like impossible to hit a winner on. He's so fast, probably the best mover in all of pickleball. And he talks about it. He actually drilled back in his tennis days. He drilled his movement and taking big long strides instead of short quick strides. He'd take big long strides. So it's something that you can definitely practice, but I'd have to say that for another day because I don't fully understand it myself. But his movement is so good. Someone once commented on my video and said, you play like Collin Shick. You have a similar movement. I was like, no. But super kind of him. Whoever thought that. The dude's nuts. Like, we played singles. I think it was a 111, 211. If my memory serves me correctly, like, it was destruction. He just destroyed me. And it's his movement. He gets to every ball. So movement's essential to practice. One thing that I will say about it, and that I have been practicing after analyzing his game and watching him, he'll always step with his outside foot first. Always step with his outside foot first. Okay, so that helps you to spring towards the ball. And then when he's recovering and coming back to the middle of the court, which is something that you always want to do in singles, in doubles you want to come back to the middle of your side, he will cross that leg over to get back as quickly as possible. And he steps out with whatever leg is on the outside. Whichever leg is going towards the ball, he'll step out with first. It's kind of an interesting thing. But as you can see, I switched sides. We're playing to 7 here as well, I'm pretty sure. I don't exactly remember. You can play to whatever score you want. I don't know. That seemed quicker than 7, but I think it was 7. So then I'm doing the same exact thing. And by the way, I skipped it, but I warmed up all my drops, hitting from each location to each location. And obviously with this drill, you don't just have to strictly drive or drop. So he got me there, and that's just footwork, straight up. So something that I've been working on a lot the last, I don't know how long it's been, since April. What is that, 4 months, 3 months? I've been working on my footwork a lot and stepping with that correct foot. And it's crazy what a difference it makes, especially on the backhand side, how much stronger my backhand is as a result. But right here, I'm just practicing keeping it out in front of me and rolling around the ball. It's the first time I've ever done it. And as you can see, just after a little bit of his instruction, it's pretty decent. And he's being very easy on me, moving me around, whereas I was going really hard on him and he still didn't miss. Okay, I think that wraps it up. So after that, we ended up playing some singles. It was pretty hot outside. It was April, so not as hot as right now. It's like 115 outside right now. But it was a lot of fun. Be sure to go follow Collin Shick on Instagram. I will link his @handle at the top of the description. His @handle, whatever it's called. Top of the description, you guys can just click on it. Give him a follow. Dude has tons of great content out there and tons of insights. So super grateful to have been able to drill with him. It was such a good experience. Dude is freaking wicked, like so consistent. And I hope that you guys found some insights from this, from him and also from me. And if you want to see more videos just like this, be sure to subscribe. I upload new videos every Wednesday and Saturday. And I'll see you on the next one. Peace.